So I'm going to show you how to solve a word problem that involves consecutive integers. And I'm going to show you different scenarios. So in this case, we're going to look at one that has 3 consecutive even integers. In the next example, it's 2 consecutive integers. And then in another example, 3 consecutive odd integers. So I'm going to show you each example type. That way you can see how to approach each problem. So one thing you need to know is, what is an integer? So an integer are numbers. So I'm going to make up some examples so you can see. So integers are these types of numbers: -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So they follow this type of pattern. So it's a set of numbers. So the dots just mean they keep going forever this direction. So -4, -5, -6, keep going that way. And the dots means you go forever in that direction, 4, 5, 6, 7. So notice there's no fractions, no decimals. It's just pretty much numbers you count with, including 0 and the opposites. So these are the types of numbers that we're looking for. So they're saying 3 consecutive even integers. So now a couple conditions. So you gotta look at the conditions. So we know integers are these types of numbers. But then it says it has to be even. So the even integers would be something like a 2. It could be a -2. Or if I were to add like another number in here, it would be like a 4 as well. That's another even integer. So again, it has to be even and from this list, but it has to be an even one. And now they're saying 3 of them, and they have to be consecutive. So that's another condition. All consecutive means is that they have to be back to back. So let me show you some examples. Here is an example of 3 consecutive even integers. We do like 2, 4, 6. Those are 3 even integers back to back. For example, it's like, let's say I said the first one is 10. A consecutive even integer is just saying, what is the next even integer after 10? Well, that would just be like 12. And the next even after 12 is 14. Right? If I pick the number as high as 104, what's the next even number after 104? 106. What's the next even number after 106? 108. So that's all consecutive integers means, back to back. The next one that follows. So when I say 3 consecutive evens, it's just, these are examples. Whatever you pick for your first one, the next 2 have to be the next even integer that follows after the first one you picked. So now that we have the idea behind what they mean by 3 consecutive even integers, so now let's look at how to solve it. So they're saying that we want 3 of the 3 consecutive even integers that have a sum. Don't forget, sum means addition of 24, meaning the first number plus the second number plus the third number should equal 24. So since the number is small, we could actually just use a guess and check strategy for this. So let's just make I'm going to show you how you could go about guessing. So let's say I'm going to pick the first even integer to be 6. Well, then that means my second consecutive even integer would be 8, because it has to be in the next even. The next even after that is 10. So I just got to check. When I add these together, do I get 24? And lucky me, 6 plus 8 plus 10 does equal 24. So I actually did find the 3 numbers. So sometimes you get lucky like I did in the first guess. Sometimes you don't, and you have to guess again. So like, let's just say, for example, just so you can see, let's say I picked 2 for my first one. That means my next even after 2 is 4, and the next even after 4 is 6. And if you add those together, you just ask yourself, does it equal 24? Well, here, 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 6 is 12, and this does not equal 24, so then that would not be my 3 numbers. But as we've seen before, we already know that these are the 3 numbers that would be my solution. And all you would do is just say that those are the 3 numbers. 6, 8, and 10 are 3 consecutive even integers that add up to be 24. In example 2, it just says find 2 consecutive integers that add up to, right, have a sum. Don't forget, sum means add, to 187. So in this case, we only have 2 numbers. So I know the first number plus the second number should equal 187. And notice this number is much bigger, so I know that I got to pick 2 numbers that are a little bit bigger than my previous example. But and notice it just says 2 consecutive integers. It doesn't say even integers. So that means that if I pick an integer, like let's say, I'll say 90, what's the next integer after 90? So notice it's not saying the next even integer, it's just the next integer. The next number after 90 is 91. That's the next integer. So it's basically counting, by 1, add 1 more. And I just asked myself, does that equal 187? So this plus that is actually equal to 181. So it's a little bit short. So that one is not the solution. They don't equal each other. So I know I got to make my guess a little bit more for the next one. So let me try 92. So if I did 92, that means the next integer after 92 is 93. So does 92 plus 93 equals 187? Well, when I add this up, I actually get 185, so I'm actually short by 2. So my next guess would be a little bit more, so I'm just going to do one more. 93, what's the next integer after 93? 94. So does that one, let me put that one did not work, but so if I add these up, I actually see that this actually does add up to be 187, so that one works. So I know my solution for this will be 93 and 94. Those are my two numbers. These are my two consecutive integers that have a sum of 187. In other words, these two numbers are consecutive integers that add up to 187. Okay, and here's the last example. They want us to find three consecutive odd integers, and there's three of them that add up to 27. So don't forget, sum means to add. So that means that my first number plus my second number plus my third number should equal 27. And keep in mind, they said odd integers, so I have to pick an odd integer as my first number. So let me say I'll pick 9. So that's my first odd integer, the next odd integer, that's what they say consecutive, the next one that follows. The next odd integer after 9 is 11, and the next after 11 is 13. So question is, when I add these three numbers, do I get 27? So 9 plus 11 is 20, 20 plus 13 is 33, so that's a little bit too much. So since this added up to be more than that, I gotta guess a little bit lower. So let me try 7. So if this is 7, the next odd integer after 7 is 9, and the next odd integer after 9 is 11. So the question is, does that equal 27? I know that 9 plus 11 is 20, and 20 plus 7 is 27, so this one does work out. So I know that my three odd integers, or to be more specific, like they said, the three consecutive odd integers that add up to 27 are these three right here. So that'll be my final answer.